U.S. history treats the 1800s like it was the Civil War, freedom of slaves, and not much else. Because if people remembered what the 1800s were really like, the strikes, the genocide, the robber barons, they may just realize not much has changed. Which is why they try to frame it as ancient history, and not a foundation that was started just a few generations ago. By the early 20th century, America had a problem, a history full of blood, massacres of native people, child labor, violent worker uprisings, slavery, all a little too close for comfort. So the ruling class did what the ruling class does. It rewrote the story. Schools taught manifest destiny, not brutal, heinous, murderous conquest. And by World War II, the U.S. wasn't an empire, it was the world's savior. The native genocide, worker strikes, class wars, all got a polite edit so America could sell itself as the good guy. The civil rights movement is taught as progress, and it was. But slavery's raw horror, rape, torture, generational trauma still glossed over. In the 1930s, the Federal Writers Project took thousands of stories direct from former slaves. And as bad as you think slavery was, it's worse. But how many of those did you go over in school? Did you even know those stories existed? The New Deal was sold as salvation, but it didn't end poverty. It stabilized the system after a century of labor revolts. The generational wealth built on the backs of worker exploitation, worker blood, worker death, led to the robber barons being called heroes. Not corporate monopolies that survived off violence and labor that was barely a notch above the slavery we're so proudly called ended in 1865. World War II became the biggest myth of all, how we saved the world from evil, even as we brought back 1,600 Nazis to work for us. Even after those same Nazis modeled their policies after our own eugenics programs, after our own segregation and racial discrimination, as Japanese Americans were in camps. This selective memory is not an accident to maintenance. Build pride so they can send your children to die in war for the wealthy. Hide working class struggle and solidarity so that we think it's impossible. If citizens remember the genocides, the corporate coups, they may just question that flag instead of blindly worshiping it.